something, and even as the words were coming out of your mouth, you knew you were making a mistake? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, let me tell you about a time it happened to me. It was many years ago. I was contemplating a career change. The first step was to take a course to become an EMT, Emergency Medical Technician. A friend of mine who was an EMT recommended the course at a local hospital. I called the hospital, spoke to the woman in charge of the program, and she gave me all the information I needed. Before we ended the call, I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name." She told me her name. I thought I heard her clearly. "Oh, Judy." "No, my sister is Judy. My name is Trudy." Before I tell you what happened next, we need to travel back in time. Approximately 20 years earlier, I was on my way home from work. I took the same train home every single day. Yet on this day, I got on the train going the wrong direction. It never happened before nor since. I didn't realize it immediately. And when I finally did, I got off at the next station and walked to the other side of the platform to catch the train going back. I stepped to the edge of the platform and I looked. No train. No matter, the trains run frequently. I stepped back and waited. After several minutes, I again stepped to the edge. Still no train. I stepped back. The train was delayed. And the longer the delay lasted, the more frequent were my trips to the edge and back. Finally, some guy, a fellow passenger, came over and asked me why I was so nervous. I explained I was worried I was going to be late for a rehearsal I had that evening. He and I started talking, and it turned out he lived not far from me. And he was single. And he was a doctor. And he was Jewish. A Jewish doctor. My mother would be so happy. We started dating. Let me tell you something, and this is an important life lesson, so pay attention. My brother is not a reason to date somebody. I ended it. Our relationship lasted 3 weeks. That was approximately 2.5 weeks longer than I could tolerate him. But during those 3 weeks, I learned about his job, about his family, and about his ex-wife. She was a paramedic. She became a paramedic when an injury ended her skating career. She and her sister had been professional ice skaters. Their act was called the Casey Twins, Judy and Trudy. Back to my phone call. She had just told me her name was Trudy and her sister's name was Judy. What are the odds? "Oh, you're the ice skater." "Yes." I could hear the excitement in her voice. After all, she had retired from skating more than 20 years earlier. She was amazed anybody knew who she was. And this is the part where my mouth kept going because my brain didn't stop it in time. "I dated your ex-husband." What followed is what is commonly called a pregnant pause. Dead silence. Finally, she spoke. "I was never married." I mentioned the name of the doctor. "I had that marriage annulled. I can't believe he told you about it." "Yes, Back then, I said something stupid. You might be wondering what the ramifications were. There weren't any. I took the course, passed with flying colors, and decided not to change careers after all. But it could have ended differently. When those words came out of my mouth, I was embarrassed. I could have let that embarrassment stop me from taking that course. I might have spent the next few years, maybe even the rest of my life, wondering, what if? I learned something that day. I may say or do stupid things occasionally. The memory may linger, but the embarrassment, it's fleeting. I learned not to let momentary embarrassment cause me to make a decision or take an action that would have me wondering, what if? Michael Jordan said it best. It's better to shoot and miss than to let the clock run out and wonder, what if? There are no more what ifs for me. And that, my friends, was definitely a lesson worth learning. Mr. Toastmaster.